Hello,
Good.
everyone, and welcome to the Locked In podcast. Today we are in two different places, as you may be able to tell, hence the change of background and the fact we're not in the same place. Um, just schedules this week, just a bit weird, So we've not ended up in the studio. I'm in the studio, but Dan's not.
Ta-da.
So yeah, any life updates? Anything from you first off?
Oh, not in particular. Getting some friendlies booked in now for Westover.
Nice.
Um, but
It's
yeah,
getting to that
other than
time,
that,
isn't it?
it is indeed, mate. We haven't even started pre-season. We've only finished what, a month ago.
Yeah.
But mo most of the guys they play football midweek and stuff. But yeah, I think I'm not too sure whether I will be involved with Westover next year, next season rather.
Mm,
But we shall see.
indeed.
Yeah.
Keep people on the
How about
edge.
yourself? Do what? Sorry.
Keep people on the edge of their seats.
But that's not the intention. I don't think anybody is, you know, waiting patiently or concerned in any way, shape, or form.
No,
Um,
but
yeah. What about
you've got to
yourself?
build a
Any
narrative
updates?
somewhere. No, sod all, mate. Let's just go to the news. Um,
That's nice and easy.
unfortunately, some rather sad news from the world of football, especially for people of our age. Lyon have been relegated due
Why
to
is
their
that sad
financial
news?
situation. Well, they're quite a sort of nostalgic team for me. I don't know about you, but with like Janino and Benzema and Lloris and Gorkuf and all that lot from when I was sort of growing up, they were always quite an iconic team.
Gorku, do you mean Djorkaeff?
That one, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that how you
Yeah,
say
yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, Djorkaeff, he played for Bolton.
No.
Oh, not
So
that
Johan
Djorkaeff.
Gorkuf,
Oh,
the
sorry,
French
different
centre
chap.
midfielder.
This guy was a French cam. Yeah, Djorkaeff. I don't know if we're thinking, maybe I'll just have a different pronunciation. God knows.
I don't think he ever played for Bolton, the one I'm on about.
No? Oh,
No.
God knows. There we go.
Anyway, but yeah, quite a nostalgic team. So they've been relegated over their finances. So they were taken over, or a stake of the 77% stake was taken over last October by the Eagle Football Group, they're called. And
Crystal Palace chat.
they announced debts of £422 million.
It's quite a
So
lot for a French club.
yeah, they said the DNGC, which is the body that oversees the accounts of French professional football, have said the decision was incomprehensible and confirmed they would appeal.
Yeah, they already have.
Yeah, and so I mean, yeah, it seems quite drastic, when people I've seen sort of, points deductions and things like that, even severe points deductions, but to just be instantly relegated, I think is quite rare.
Probably is because of the points equivalent. I think that's why they've made that decision. You know, it's either you say here's 70 points deducted, which means you're in Div 2, or you're in Div 2. You know, it's the same outcome either which way, really, isn't it?
Mm.
But I
Yeah.
still don't know exactly what they've done wrong other than being in debt. Being in debt is not a problem in football. It's obviously balancing the books, but yeah, I don't know what exactly they've done, to be honest.
No, yeah, it was something I only came across today. So I haven't got immense amounts of depth of knowledge, but yeah, I just thought it was I knew they were in trouble. I'd heard that they were in financial trouble a few weeks or months ago. I knew that there was an issue, but I didn't think it was quite as severe as this. So yeah, as of now, they're playing in the second division.
Apparently, it might also impact Crystal Palace. Same owners,
Is that
hence the
is it
Eagle Group.
right?
Yeah. So whoever that Tenet or Tannet, whatever his name is, he's or they um they've got quite a lot of shares in Crystal Palace, and obviously with
Hmm.
Palace now getting into Europa this season because the FA Cup, that might be in question.
Oh yeah, I do remember this. Yeah, because there was an issue because they were both going to be in the same competition, weren't they? And then they were going to ban it. Yeah. Well, that might be relative. Well, not good news in general, but good news for Palace if that's the case. If they get booted out of the European competition, it just means that there is no
No,
them.
no, I don't think you're understanding me. Palace are also potentially going to be kicked out of Europa.
Oh, I thought that was just because of the clash of ownership, not because
Well,
it.
precisely. If he owns a share of both clubs, the predicament is that this individual and that organisation have committed financial unfair play. So if they're docking Leon points, technically there's been a benefit to Palace in some way, shape, or form through the ownership
I see what you
models.
mean. Right.
That's
Okay.
what they were talking about on Talk Sport. That basically, yeah, it could remove Palace from Europa. Imagine that.
Oh
Clubs
yeah,
never
that
won a
would.
trophy. You all of a sudden get into Europa and it's like, bye.
Yeah, that would be. It was. That's what happened to Oxford
Yeah.
when Oxford won the. Well, it was what was then called the Milk Cup. It's now obviously the Carabao Cup. That
Yeah.
would have got them entrance into Europe, but that was the time when all English teams were omitted from European competitions. I can't remember the
Ah,
reason why, but yeah, so that was it stopped Oxford United ever playing in Europe. They would have played in the old UEFA Cup,
I don't know.
but never allowed to.
There we
Yeah,
go.
there we go. Poor old Leon.
Bye bye.
Indeed. Yeah, next, it's a bit of an odd story, and you'll probably look at me as to why are you talking about this, but uh, Adam Lallana has retired. Rightly so, he's like 412. But what it made me think was, will we ever see a player that will stick with a club from League Two all the way to the Premier League and maintain a starting spot?
But he left Southampton. He went to Brighton and Liverpool.
Yeah, once they were already in the Premier League. But
Oh, I see what
he
you
went
mean.
from
Is he played for the club to get them up
Mhm.
there with
He
them?
played the whole way,
Good
yeah.
bloody question.
But I can't see it happening anymore because a lot of players just don't have the staying power for that. If he's of a quality that would be good enough to play in the Premier League, normally they'll make that jump. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
good point. Um, I guess you'd have to hope for a situation like a Vardy, I guess,
Mm.
where they're sort of coming into their prime in say mid-20s, and they're almost too late to have been picked up by one of the Prem clubs already academy level. And then you could just kind of stay with them and improve and improve and improve year on year to then get yourself up in there, but
Mm.
without getting so much attention from Prem clubs or top European clubs prior to the actual entering of the Premier League. But I also doubt it. I can't see it happening
Mm.
again in England. I think it could happen in your Italy's, your Spain's, and your France's, but I don't know if you'd see that in England just because of the level of competition, the
Yeah, well, I
pyramid
mean,
here.
it did happen more recently, didn't it, with that Luton player, the centre midfielder. I can't remember his name, but that he did the same thing. But I don't think it had quite the same impact because obviously Luton were one and done. They weren't good enough to be in the Premier League. So, but the fact that Adam Lallana got them there, they stayed there, and then he went to play for Liverpool and other teams. Yeah, I think it's quite a rarity for a
Yeah,
player to
it
do that.
is.
So, yeah, he's apparently when the new manager comes in, which is Will Still. I don't know if you know who that is, but the ginger guy who he was in the news. I think it was 2 years ago because he claimed that a lot of his expertise came from Football Manager, and then he became
I
this
think
like.
you've talked about him on a different podcast.
I may
I'm
well have
getting
done.
deja vu. I don't know why.
Yeah, so he was the manager of the French team. Can't remember which one. It might have been Lens, maybe. I can't remember. But yeah, so he is going to be the new Southampton manager, and apparently Adam Lallana's going in straight into a job as a coach.
Oh,
So
right, fair enough.
fair play to him. We
Interesting,
wish him the best.
indeed.
Now, a
Bit
bit
of a
of
funny one. Adam Lallana used to have a kickabout with the lads I went to school with when they were growing up at Kings Park.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, I hadn't considered you're quite near Southampton, aren't you? So,
Well, he grew up in Bournemouth. He didn't grow up in Southampton.
oh, did
He
he?
grew up. He went to St Peter's School, which was my sixth form.
Oh, right. There
Obviously,
we
he's like
go.
8, 9 years ahead. So I never sort of mingling with him back then. But yeah, there you
Well,
go.
there you go. Yeah, because I mean, the Southampton Academy was like massive when I was growing up.
Was the
Anyone
best in England.
anyone who was any good at football around, even around here, Oxford, where I am,
Yeah,
was recruited to the Southampton Academy. I knew more people that got into the Southampton Academy than the Oxford Academy.
really.
Yeah, genuinely.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
they were everywhere in England at one point. And yeah, anyone with a bit of talent, right
yeah.
down
The
from
the
like, 6, 7, 8 year olds, they were scouted.
yeah. They were for during that throughout my whole childhood up until the age of 14. I'm pretty sure they won the equivalent age group for the academies like league. They won it every single year that
Mm,
I grew up. So from under sevens up to under 14s.
yeah.
The lads that I was playing with for my school and against that played for Southampton, they were the same. They were basically winning every single year for their academy team.
Yeah. Because I remember there was this little kiddie who played for my youngest brother's team back when they can't have been much older than 4 or 5, and he was the goalkeeper, and he got scouted from Tower Hill, which is a local team to me, yeah, to the Southampton Academy. He had to commute to Southampton.
Mental, innit?
Yeah, what psychopath would do that?
Who, what, commute to Southampton? I wouldn't.
You
Well, I would
commute
have done
from
as a kid.
Bournemouth to...
Oh, for work? Yeah, I'm a fucking adult that's got to pay the bills. I'm not a choice. I'm not kicking a bag of air around for fun. Paying 90 quid a week for the privilege. Fucking hell. Yeah, I couldn't have done that as a kid.
No, no.
Jesus.
But
Yeah.
little bit of odd transfer news. Okay, it is only a rumor, but I thought it would spark a good conversation because I would be quite up for this. So it came in, it was an hour ago, 12 o'clock today. Everton and Man United keen on Ndidi from Leicester.
Yeah.
Do you know what he's got a relegation release clause? Do you know what it is? £9 million. I would say you take a punt on that. 9 million quid.
I'm trying to think. Compared to the current Man United centre mid, so Ericsson's been let go. There's been quite a few released, isn't there? This transfer window from United.
Not
I'm
so
trying to
many
think
centre
who
mids, but there's been quite a few sort of, yeah, more defensive minded players that have gone.
So we've still got Mainu, still got Casemiro,
Yeah, Bruno
still got Bruno, still got Mount.
out. Yeah. Um,
Who the bloody hell else played in centre mid?
well, yeah, it was obviously Ericsson played a few games. Ugarte.
Garte, of course, yeah, so he'll
Um,
still be there. I mean,
yeah.
it's a good squad filler, but if you're trying to get United back into Champions League spots, I don't think that Ndidi is the signing for that. Really, if you've just been part of a core centre midfield, well, you've been the core centre midfielder for Leicester, and you've just got relegated that early on. I don't know. Do you want that? Is that really where you want to take what was a treble
No,
winning team? He's a
I
great
mean,
little player. I rate him, but he hasn't been fantastic this last season or two,
no,
really.
he hasn't. He hasn't. I'm not saying this is going to be a transformative signing. But I'm
No,
just thinking if he wants to play with these two pivots, which is what it seems like he wants to, you need a little bit more defensive sort of.
mindedness. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And I
yeah.
don't, Mainu especially just doesn't have that really. He's much better going forward than he is playing
I agree.
backwards. Um, so realistically, you've got Casemiro who's in his last year. He'll go at the end of the season.
Yeah,
Ugarte, and that's it. Realistically, in defensive-minded centre midfielders.
which
So
Ugarte is truly defensive, though.
oh yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
is.
He's a defensive monster, that boy. But yeah, I just think if you're running on Casemiro, who you've got a year of, and Agate, you need a couple more at least. And I don't, they're strapped for cash, 9 million quid. I
It's
mean,
not a bad buy.
that's less than
Squad
you
filler.
pay like Agate or Casemiro or Rashford a year. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're on more than that
Um,
in wages. And so I think he,
True.
he wouldn't be on mega money. He'd probably
Yeah.
be on 80, 100 grand a week. which is mad to
Yeah.
say that that's not mega money, but you know what I mean, comparatively. Um, so yeah, I just thought I looked at that and I thought actually it's probably worth a punt because you've saved more than 9 million quid by getting rid of the players you got rid of. Do you know what I mean?
True.
So you're not
Yeah, very true.
really sort of losing much. The likelihood is Rashford's going to go, Garnacho is definitely going to go. So
Here's a question. You know Garner that was at Everton last year, the United ex-United player.
yes,
Is he was he sold to Everton or was he loaned to Everton?
he was
Sold.
sold. Yeah, yeah. They got quite a good deal for him. They didn't sell him for that much, but there was a lot of clauses put in for games played, so they ended up actually getting quite a lot of money for him. So
Mm,
he was sold. I don't think it was right to sell him at the time. I disagreed with it, but judging by how he's been for Everton, he's been admittedly bang average. So I think they
true.
did well. They sold him when his value was going to be as high as it is going to be, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it was a bit of a shame when he went, but yes, he was a full sale. I think 2 years ago now.
I mean,
Um,
go on then, out of curiosity, if you could pick any, I'll say realistic for argument's sake, but any CDM in Europe right now to walk
mm.
into the United team and be the player that helps us get or helps United get to European spots again, who out of all the major European clubs would you choose? Bearing in mind that look, Rice is out. Forget Rice. He's staying at Arsenal. That's done. So
I mean, it
you pick
depends if
him.
you're talking realistic or not, isn't it? But I think the realistic one that I have heard potentials about is Douglas Luiz from
Oh, ex-Villa.
Juventus. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
there was apparently before I think it was the sporting director or director of football or something of Juventus has recently either left or been sacked. And he admitted after he'd been sacked that they were working on the deal that would see Anthony go to Juventus and Douglas Luiz come to United. And I quite liked that thought. I mean, he's not going to transform the team, but it's the same argument as what I just said for Ndidi. He doesn't
yeah.
harm the team because
Ah,
you're distinctly lacking in that sort of player. So
yeah, yeah,
I think realistic sign because obviously you could say people, you could say Kimmich or you could say, you know, Pedri or do you know what I mean? But they're not.
yeah.
It's never going to happen. So yeah,
Hmm,
I think Douglas Luiz wouldn't be a bad shout.
yeah,
Um, it was a shame they missed out on Gravenberch, even though I think they were right to at the time. That man's had a real good resurgence in the last year and a half. But
yeah.
Man United actually passed him up before he signed on Liverpool.
Well, that's not
They
very clever, is it?
well, no, but at the time he didn't look anything special. Do you know what I mean? I think he is.
You say that the season, and again, this is a really poor reference point, but the season before he moved to Liverpool, I think he got six Team of the Week votes on FIFA. Like he had six Team of the Week cards in that season prior, which you don't often see
Uh,
someone get that many in a season.
I don't know if that was the season before. I think that was the season before that. Because the season before he joined Liverpool, he didn't really play because he was really out of favour at Bayern. That's why he
Oh,
left.
because Goretzka, of course, got Goretzka and that new Serbian
Yeah.
lad that they just
So
introduced, didn't
that's
they?
why Liverpool paid next to no money for it. And that's why Man United were in for him or got
Right,
offered him or
okay.
whatever was because it was not a lot. It was only like 18, 20 million for someone realistically who's only 21, 22. So it was a good signing, but he was a risk. In the same way that Liverpool took a risk with Chiesa and it didn't work out, they took a risk with Gravenberch and it did. The thing is, with the financial position that Man United are in, they can't afford to take even 20 million pound risks. Do you know what I mean? That's why they're paying big money for more proven players.
Yeah.
Would
I mean,
you?
personally, I'd go, I think the one that would shore things up and offer the best across the board would be Tchouaméni.
Yeah, it's always difficult getting players out of Real Madrid
Galacticos, of course,
because
yeah,
Real
they
Madrid
need them.
only sell when they feel they need to. You look
Yeah,
at when they've sold Varane to us, they sold Casemiro to us, and they both deteriorated within 18 months.
yeah.
They are the masters of only letting players go when they know that they're they're on the way out, and
Time's up,
Tchouaméni ain't
yeah.
on the way out.
No, of
So
course.
I know that there was a team, I can't remember who it was, but it was a Premier League team, and they were really interested in Camavinga. I was
I
obviously
would
you
love
might
to.
as
I
I
would
would
love to
love
see
it.
it.
You'd
Yeah.
have an easier time breaking into Fort Knox than trying to get one of Madrid's core players like that, whether it be Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Bellingham, Eder
Yeah.
Militao, any of them, you won't get them out because their release clauses are in the hundreds and hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
Like I think it's either Militao or Camavinga's got £600 million release clause.
Fucking what?
It's because in Spain they have to have a release clause.
Just
They
to
have
just
to
make
by
it
the letter of
ridiculous.
the law in the league. So they just make like Gavi's is like 1 billion. Yeah.
I know Messi's was 1 billion, wasn't it? I think one of his last years
Yeah.
at Barca.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fucking
It's just so that they can't. No one's ever going to trigger it. Do you know what I mean? That's the
yeah,
point.
cool.
But yeah, I
Uh,
thought that was a little bit of interesting, a bit of a complete curveball. I
yeah,
hadn't heard
proper.
that name. I hadn't heard that name mentioned in ages. But
No,
I, yeah, I thought it potential. I like it.
yeah, very good.
Now, I think you're not going to really gel with this story as well as I hoped you would, because I bet you haven't watched Welcome to Wrexham, have you?
Yeah,
Oh, you have. Yeah.
bits of, not the whole lot.
So I don't know if you've seen in the news, Paul Mullins left,
Right.
the striker. He's gone on loan to Birmingham.
Okay.
And all I've seen in the news recently is no one knows why. No one knows why this guy is, who dropped down from a high level to play for Wrexham when they were in the Conference League and has brought them, dragged them up the leagues, scoring insane amount of goals. The guy's only 30, and
Hmm.
yeah. So anyway, he was basically told you're not going to play, and it just seems complete. It seems to just to cause complete confusion in the
Well, it's
fan base and
mental.
in the media. And so yeah, he's gone. He's gone on loan to Birmingham. I'm
It's a
like,
very. Who are they bringing in instead then? Do you think they're going to try and imitate the same methodology?
mm,
Try and pick up a striker from the Prem
yeah, I think they
and
will.
bring them down to bring them back up?
Well, I heard, I don't know how true it was, but I heard they offered a contract to Christian Eriksen. Yeah,
I mean, fair, bit weird. I
he
don't think that
he'd
that
do
man.
bits in the Premier League, in the Championship.
No, he wouldn't.
Yeah, he would.
That no, trust me, that player would not do bits at that level, and the reason being is the intensity. You honestly watch a champion. Well, you do. You've watched loads of championship
I do.
games.
Yeah.
The intensity level in that league compared to the Prem, which I honestly, when you watch Prem games, the fact that most of these players get 2 to 5 seconds on the ball is mad. In amateur level, in the lower levels, it's more constant high press, constant high press. I don't think that Ericsson has the legs to play in the championship. He doesn't have the legs to play in there for more than half the games of the season. That's for sure. So then it's like, well, what's he bringing you? Okay, set pieces would be lovely, but he's done nothing for United on set pieces since he's been here or been at United. So
He hasn't been
it's
on
a
them, has he?
shadow of
But
it, shadow of him, not his old self. I think what he would bring in the training ground would be invaluable. But I actually think on the 11-a-side games on a weekend, I don't think he's adding value to their club in the championship. I know it sounds crazy
mm,
because he was elite level, but I don't see it anymore. I don't think he has that cardio. I know it sounds like a fucking pun, but I genuinely don't think he has the cardio to keep up.
I just think the talent difference
Should drag
that
him through.
he has compared to your average championship midfielder is just it will even out the golf in intensity, I think.
Possibly. I really, my own opinion would be that he would suffer and struggle.
Mm.
You do think that? Yeah, a little youngster, someone who's fit and can just keep fucking running. That you get that in the championship, and that can win you games. Having like any
Yeah,
Basuma, or who's that other lad who plays centre mid for Spurs, Sarr.
yeah.
One of those two, I think, would be a great addition in like the sort of championship. They would definitely do bits for a team at that level because their energy levels are just so high.
Yeah, I don't think Wrexham's got to spare 70 mil, but
No,
But yeah, Mullin, 172 appearances, so he's played pretty much every game, 110 goals.
it's not bad, is it?
That's a very good return, in today's day and age.
Yeah, very
And
good.
yeah, I don't get it, but. yeah, he's gone. I thought that they would keep him, if for nothing else than the story. Do you know what I mean? To
Hmm.
play into the sort of fantasy of it. Because if they get to the Premier League and Paul Mullin is still, maybe he doesn't play. Do you know what I mean? Maybe he only plays 10 games next season. But if he's in the team that makes the Premier League, that's a hell of a story. Do you know what I
Oh, it is.
mean?
Of
Because
course. Yeah.
he's one of, outside of the owners and everything like that, he's basically the main character. Do you know what I mean? He
Yeah.
he was the star signing when all this stuff kicked off. So, and the fact he dropped from League One to the Conference, do you know what I mean? That's a big old drop. To
It is.
and he was the top scorer in League One the season he left.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was amazed by that. I mean, it's not like it affects me. Do you know what I mean? I'm not that emotionally involved, but I was just surprised. If Oxford, for example, if Oxford got promoted and immediately sold Cam Brannigan, is the only thing I can sort of relate it to.
Related to.
Like their star
Yeah.
boy that they got from Liverpool when they were in League One, and he stayed, and I would be, I don't know if I'd be angry, but I would be severely confused as to why
Yeah.
you would
Yeah.
do that. So that's what it sort of evoked for me. Why would you do that? But
Well, did you see any murmurings of who they're looking to sign to replace him? Because that
no,
would answer it, wouldn't it?
I
If they're
honestly
looking to
haven't.
pick up, I
Because
don't
obviously
even think.
the transfer market's not open yet. It was only open in the Premier League because of the Club World Cup, so it's
Yeah.
not even officially open. So I imagine we'll see some stuff because obviously Wrexham's quite high on the sort of public media sort of thing. They're quite well reported, aren't they? So
Yeah.
we will see
I
things,
mean,
but
who on earth? I can't even think of a Premier League striker that would suit them and score them 20 goals a season. I genuinely can't think of one. The only one I don't think he's even, no, he's not even there. Shea Adams, he's not even Prem anymore, is he?
no, he plays for Torino in Italy.
Yeah.
He did really well there last season.
Yeah, he did have a decent
Um,
season, didn't he?
yeah.
Who the fuck did he replace him with?
Well, I've heard. I don't think it was true, but I heard Jamie Vardy
Now
because he's
that would
just
be
gone.
cool.
I like the thought of that.
Yeah, that
So
I like.
yeah,
That would be
but
good. God, he's gone back to Fleetwood.
was he?
I had a little notification on my phone the other day actually saying that he's gone back to Fleetwood. Yeah, which is
Nice.
cool. I like that.
Yeah.
That's another great story. There's going to be two very, very good football films coming to cinemas in the next 10 years. One about Wrexham, one about Vardy.
Mm.
It'll
That
be
is a
great.
cool story, the Vardy story,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
That is
yeah. And the
class.
fact I saw a little video the other day of him. He finds out the languages of the centre backs that he's playing against every single game, and he learns all of the insults in their mother tongue. He doesn't learn the language; he just learns the insults, and he just starts shouting at them. This guy's like, "Why do you do it? Do they ever bite back?" He goes, "Maybe I don't know what they're saying. Yeah, I don't care." He is such a legend of a
It is
player.
good. It
What a
is good.
nightmare. Doesn't that puta
Um,
madre? And all of a sudden, you're like, what are you talking to? Go on, Vardy.
yeah, it's class, isn't it?
It is.
One little thing to end off because we're cheapskates and we don't have the pro version of this, so we're running out of time. Um,
Indeed.
I've seen a potential. Well, it won't be an actual swap deal, but let's call it a swap deal. Garnacho for Nkunku. Now, I know Nkunku has been injury riddled at his time at Chelsea, but I would do it. I don't know about
Same.
you, but I would do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. If you can get him fit again back to his Leipzig form,
It's
I mean,
exactly what I
dangerous.
said when I was talking to someone about it the other day. I said that
Yeah.
Leipzig player is in there somewhere. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if it's just a case of, he doesn't get on with the medical staff or something's not quite right at Chelsea, you take that risk.
Yeah.
Like Inter did with Lukaku when he was having all those injury problems, and look what happened there. You think just a
Yeah.
change of environment, a change of personnel, you never know. And the fact that Garnacho's leaving anyway, do you know what I mean? I don't really care where he goes now. I didn't
Yeah.
originally want him to go to a Premier League team, but now I could give a shit. I just don't want him anywhere near the team.
Yeah.
And if it's a case of getting a player that Chelsea paid, I think, £80 million for, is it
Bloody
2 years
hell.
ago?
Yeah,
I think
only
it well,
two
it
years.
wasn't that long ago. I don't how old is he? Let me see if it says.
He's 30 now.
I don't think he's that old, is he? Um, because he was
28.
young anyway. Let me have a look quick. Uh, Nkunku. How do you spell it?
Nkunku.
That's the one. He is 27.
Oh, okay. Oh, still plenty
He's
of
four
time.
weeks, he's 3 weeks younger than me.
He's
Yeah.
3 years younger than me. That fucking hurts.
Yeah,
There
so
you
I mean
go.
27, he's on the top end of what I would be comfortable them buying. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't go much older than 27 because of the project and all this sort of shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can't see that being yeah. Okay, with add-ons it was 80 million. The fee was 60.
The only question
So
I'd have are what are the injuries he's been having? I can't remember what they were. If they're hamstrings, if they're MCLs, ACLs, I'd probably leave it alone. Because I just don't, unless you can afford to buy him, send him over to South America for 3 months to get stem cells done.
mm,
I just don't think you're going to get it out of him again. And can you justify that? Can you pay someone 100, no, 200 grand a week, probably 250 a week he's on at Chelsea? Can you afford to pay that every week just to have someone get better potentially to then have them as a starting member of your oh, gets a
yeah.
bit messy, I think.
Okay. So last season, the big injury that he had was a knee injury.
Yeah, that's MCL, ACL. I wouldn't touch it.
Well, I don't think it is because he was only out for 3 months, and
Yeah, it could be.
I doubt not in professional football. I mean, Martinez did hit and he was out for 18 months. I'd be amazed if they do an ACL or MCL and
Oh,
it's 3 months.
could different levels of damage, mate. If
Yeah,
it's not as damaged, it could just be a minor tear.
and
But
then yeah, he
it's
had
just a
a
nightmare to fix and get back to full strength.
mind you. I mean, in the last season, he only missed 6 games. It was the season before when he missed a load, but last season he only missed 6 games.
Well, he
All
was
he
on the
had
bench
was
for the moment.
a knock, is what it's put down as here. And that was April until May this year.
If
So
anything, that's more worrying then for me. The fact that he couldn't get into that team when they had that massive ropey spell when Palmer fell off form. The fact he still couldn't get into the starting 11 over what Neto, Jackson, and the fact I can't tell you who the other winger is says quite a bit.
you
Oh,
know,
Madueke, I think.
yeah.
I mean, the fact that you can't get ahead of them is probably not great, considering before Chelsea signed him, one of the hottest prospects in European football, one of the hottest players in European football, Nkunku.
I mean, to be fair, Dan, he did play 27 games in the Premier League this year.
Played 27, yeah, but how many starting
Well,
versus like a 10
he played 910 minutes. So if you take that to 30,
11
that's an average of
games? Yeah.
half an hour a game. So yeah, the majority were probably substitute, but he was fit for every game. That's what I'm saying. He
Hmm.
played 27 times, nine in the
Yeah.
Conference League, scored five, assisted three just in the Conference League. He's played twice in the Club World Cup. So yeah, I mean, I'd take the punt on him, to
Yeah.
be honest.
Depends
I
on
mean,
wages and
it's a
stuff. Yeah.
risk. Of course, it's a risk, but you know, I mean, if you think that front three goes from whatever the fuck we had last season to Cunha and Buemo and Kunku, potentially a striker in whether it's Gyökeres or whoever it is, that is a rejuvenated front three. So
Because, yeah, big time.
yeah,
Have to see what happens with Mbeumo because he's not sure if he's going to go to United, is he?
apparently deals should get done today or tomorrow.
With United?
Apparently, I
Oh,
heard
okay.
that
The
this
last I
morning.
heard, who was the other club that was going from? Was it Tottenham?
Yeah, Spurs, but he basically said no. He, that came from when Thomas Frank was appointed, but Thomas Frank. Why did you
Yeah.
shake your head?
I just think it's weird. Why would he not want to play for his ex-manager when he did so well with him?
Well, it depends on the draw of whether he wants to. The pull of United is real, mate. Whether people think it's over or not, it's still there.
Yeah, but
You
there's
can
no
love your
logic
manager as
to that.
much.
I,
Uh,
I, I understand the emotional reason for doing it. Of course, I get that. Like, if someone says to me, you can go play for your boyhood club, United, or you can go play for Spurs, obviously I'll pick United. But
yeah,
if I'm a professional footballer, I'm doing it for the sake of how do I get the best accolades? And if you've got one that's got themselves in the Champions League, I'm taking Champions League. Yeah. Weird. Just
there
strange. I
you
think
go.
it's a little bit strange. You know what I mean?
Right, we are at time constraint, so
Weird.
we're going to end before it ends for us. Um,
Indeed.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week.
Will do. It's goodbye from me and it's goodbye from the jungle.